Started. So thanks for coming to this virtual workshop. I'm really glad you're here joining me. Very excited to have you here with me to talk about money management, part 2 of 2, which is Thrive. So I hope some of you have attended the first one. If not, that's okay. This will still be good information to have. You'll still be able to follow along without any problem. So I am going to refer back a little bit to what I did previously. So a couple of weeks ago, before COVID happened, I did do part 1 of money management, and this is what we kind of did. I wanted to review that very briefly before we get into today's topic. So a couple of weeks ago, during the part 1 Survive, first thing we talked about was the spend trend, how it's dangerous to spend more than you make, and it's even dangerous to spend just what you make, because it leaves nothing left for savings, which can be a problem. And just the keeping up with the Joneses, that can be a problem as well, feeling like we have to be equal to other people when it comes to what we wear, what we drive, and kind of what we spend money on. Second thing we talked about was credit card debt, how very dangerous it can be, especially when you have multiple credit cards. But even a single credit card can be extremely dangerous because of many factors, which again, we talked about previously, and you can in fact watch again on our Success Workshops webpage. The third one was upbringing matters. It does matter what your upbringing was like, and that influences how you think about money and how you deal with money. The fourth thing we talked about was savings and emergency fund. Preparing to create an emergency fund is so very critical. Saving money, not just to save with no purpose, but to save in order to create a fund that you can use when emergencies arise. Because as we all know, emergencies do arise, and so we've got to be prepared. The fifth thing we talked about, or the last thing, was perspectives on money. And that's all about having a different viewpoint of what money can be for you. We talked very briefly about poverty mindsets, middle-class mindsets, and wealth mindsets. And we're going to actually go over that again today because it is so very important. But first, let's transition now into today. We're going to transition from surviving monetarily to thriving. First point I want to make is this. We can't keep doing what we've always done. If we've always simply spent our credit cards and racked up bills and debt, we can't keep doing that, because the definition of insanity is doing that same thing over and over and expecting a different result, wondering why you don't have any money, wondering why you don't have any savings. We can't live that way anymore, because that is indeed insanity. So let's talk about an overview of what we're going to do today. The first thing is we're going to continue on that perspectives of money. We're going to talk about procrastination, which there's a whole hour-long topic, again on the Success Workshops Canvas webpage, and how procrastination can hurt you from a financial standpoint. Then we'll talk about how millionaires think. Again, I want you to think big. Don't just think, I want to make 50,000, 100,000, whatever the case may be. I want you to think, how can I possibly even become a millionaire? So that's the third thing we'll talk about, is how does a millionaire think, behave, act? What are the activities they do? The fourth thing I want to talk about is a very important concept, which is that income and wealth are not the same thing. Many people confuse the two, and we're going to discuss how they are different. The next topic we'll talk about for today is risk and reward. This is really the essential linchpin, the key to wealth creation and how it works. The greater the reward that you want often means the greater risk you must take, and vice versa. We'll get into that later. Finally, the sixth and final topic will be creating wealth. Even though this is not a wealth creation course by any means, I am going to introduce you to some of the best ways to create wealth, to get your mind thinking. Without further ado, let's jump in. A couple of weeks ago, in the part one, survive, we talked about poverty mindsets, middle class mindsets, and wealth mindsets. I'm going to dive more deeply into it because I only gave a preview last time. Now, diving deeper, I'm going to talk more in detail. The first mindset is the poverty mindset, and the timeline is really focused on the present day and even the past. Why might the poverty mindset deal with the past? Because a lot of times when we are having a poverty mindset, we're thinking about the debt we owe. We've already spent too much money. And so now our timeline is about, wow, now I got to pay for that big HD TV I bought, or gee, I have to pay for that, whatever, washer dryer I had to buy. So that's the timeline, is the present and even the past, paying for our previous purchases. The focus is on managing our debt and paying our monthly bills, struggling to survive, essentially. The vision is to get through the day. And the viewpoint on money, it's all about money being used and money being spent. That is the purpose of money from a poverty mindset, is, hey, I need to be using this money and spending this money. So new folks, welcome to the workshop. Thanks for coming. I'm going to very quickly say that we're going to do 6 things today. Backtrack for those of you who just joined us. And these are the 6 things. Perspective on money, procrastination, how millionaires think, income versus wealth and how they are different, risk and reward, and creating wealth. So that's the poverty mindset. Now we're going to talk about the middle class mindset. The middle class mindset is about thinking of the near future. This is more like, hey, I'm doing okay. I can even save a little bit of money, but what is my purpose in saving money? It is simply to save to spend. I'm going to, for example, go on vacation, or I'm going to, for example, put a down payment on my car, or even put a down payment on my house. Those are things about getting through the year. This is still survival mode, but it's a more longer term survival mode. Money, in this case, is seen as being managed. How can I manage my money the best way possible? And my destiny, not really a destiny. It's more like I have some limited choices. But if I make a mistake, that's really going to hurt me. So I'm kind of at the mercy of the decisions I make. Finally, I want to talk about the third perspective. This is what we aspire to. This is what we want to get to. And it is a mindset, a way of thinking. The way of thinking here is about a wealth mindset. It is really focused on the long-term future. Too often we think about short-term things, medium-term things. We don't do enough thinking about the long term. So the focus when you have a wealth mindset is in investing. That means taking my savings, that assumes that you have saved, and after you have saved, it then says, my savings are not going to be used to spend, buy new clothes, go on vacation, buy a car. It's going to be investing in the future so that my savings grows even bigger. The vision with this wealthy mindset is very, very different. It's about a legacy, something that will last a lifetime, yes, but even beyond a lifetime. Does anyone want to chip in and say how it could last beyond a lifetime? What do I mean by that? Anyone want to unmute and make a comment?
Beyond your lifetime could be like for grand or grandchildren to come.
Excellent. That's exactly right. It's about your kids, your grandkids. It's having so much money that you actually have inheritance that you give to your children. Great answer. So that's when you see that money is viewed as something to be not used and spent, not even managed, but to be invested. And finally, the destiny for a wealthy person's mindset or a wealth mindset, whether you are wealthy or not, you can have the mindset. Your mindset has a destiny that believes in limitless possibilities and big picture ideas. Last time that we met, when we talked about Survive, part 1 of this money management 2-part series, I mentioned Bill Gates. And if you've been reading up, of course, as we all have, on COVID-19, the coronavirus, he's a big proponent of putting money into research and finding out a solution for the problem and putting money into helping people short term to survive what's going on. So again, Bill Gates is a great example. But again, when you have a wealthy person's mindset, you think big picture ideas. You don't think in a box of just, hey, this is me and my little life, and I just want to manage my little life. You think like Bill Gates and you go, wow, there is a global pandemic. How can I personally influence for the better this pandemic? Powerful stuff. So now I'm going to shoot out a poll. This is going to be my first of several polls. I'm going to launch it now. It's about your money perspective. The first question is, when you think about money, what timeline do you focus on? And I'm going to let you look at the next three questions. Please answer the three questions just in terms of what you believe, no right and wrong answer. And I will observe the poll results, and then I will show you the results from everybody's answers. So whether you are knowledgeable of what we're talking about or just going ahead and giving your best shot, go ahead and do that now. Can you all see the questions?
Yes.
Excellent. Go ahead and answer. For those of you who are unable to see it for some reason, I'm just going to walk it through so you can hear my voice. When I'm done talking, which will only be about 1 minute, I will end the poll. The first question out of the three questions is, when you think about money, what timeline do you usually focus on? Possible answers are the present, the near future, and the long-term future. Again, I see 3 people have answered. Thank you. We still have about 4 more people, so please continue to answer the questions and then execute at the bottom. The second question I'm asking in this poll, in case you cannot see it, is, in general, what do you consider to be money's purpose? A, to be used and spent, B, to be managed, or C, to be invested. Thank you for giving your answers. I see you, 4th person. I appreciate it. It's all anonymous. I cannot see your names. Question number 3. Growing up, roughly age 5 to 12, how did you feel money affected you and your family? Was the feeling mostly of A, no power and no escape, B, limited choices where every choice could bite you, or C, limited choices but no problem if a mistake is made, or D, unlimited possibilities? You'll have about 15 seconds left. Please answer those 3 questions on your Zoom poll now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. We got almost everybody in this poll. I'm going to end the polling now, and I am going to share the results. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So when you think about money, what timeline? Most of you said the near future. And then again, that is very common, right? Most of us hopefully are not in that in-debt situation. And most of us are thinking, yeah, I want to go a little further. I want to figure out how to save. I want to figure out how to buy a car, these kinds of things. And again, I would encourage you to then take that and think about the long-term future, which is maybe something you've never considered, which hopefully is why you're here in this workshop. I hope to reveal some of those things to you. Poll number 2, what do you consider to be money's purpose? To be managed. Again, a very common answer. Number 3, growing up, how did you feel it affected you? And here things are kind of distributed pretty evenly. Some of you felt like you had no power and no escape. Some of you felt like there were limited choices, and one of you felt like there was unlimited possibilities. All right, I'm going to stop the sharing results, and let's go ahead and continue on with our workshop. The second idea I wanted to get across is about procrastination. And for those of you who just joined us, remember that there is an entire 1-hour video that I have done myself where it was a live presentation of procrastination and time management. Again, you can find that in the success workshops, which I will show you at the end of our time together. But it is a Canvas shell with about 7, 8, or 9 videos on there that you can watch and understand some really cool topics to affect your college life and life beyond. How can procrastination affect you from a financial standpoint? Well, again, I want to emphasize the whole idea of our Success Workshop series is that this is a life skill. It is not just about college studies, even though you can probably think of many ways in which procrastination can hurt you in your college studies. But really, procrastination is something that can even destroy your money management skills. I'm about to show you how. What if we talk about, for example, the first idea, which is on paying credit cards. If you were to procrastinate when it comes to paying credit cards, hopefully you know this, those of you who've been to the first of the two-part series, the survive part. What do you think the problems come? Can someone answer that for me? Please unmute and share what you remember from our last time together.
Be some interest rate. You'll be paying for it for a long time.
That's right. Interest rate is going to bite you. You're going to be paying it for a long time. What did I talk about in terms of how much money you can make in a bank account? How much interest do they give you? Does anybody remember roughly the percentage? Go ahead and unmute and talk if you have an answer. So from last time, the answer was about 1%. 1 to 1.5% is what they will give you if you put your $100 in the bank, for example. How much do you think credit cards will charge you if you borrowed $100 from a credit card company? Anyone can unmute and share, please?
It's about 9%, 6%,
You said 9%?
9 or 6, something like that.
Yeah, 6 or 9. That's definitely a good guess. Usually it's going to be about 16 to 28%. Sometimes it can be lower than that, but once you've made a mistake and you don't pay off the whole thing, they're going to start raising your rate on you. So again, obviously, when you borrow money, you're paying a lot more in interest. When you save money, they're not going to give you more than 1 or 1.5%. So when you procrastinate and you don't pay off your credit cards, they're going to charge you 16 to 28% for the privilege of owing them money. Now that's where procrastination can really bite you. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Amen to that?
Oh yeah. Amen.
Facts, baby, facts.
Yes.
Number 2, how can procrastination hurt you in terms of investing? Well, you may or may not have heard this, but this is kind of your basic principles, which is that because of compound interest, when you save money and you put it in the bank and you save some more money and you put it in the bank, you're getting compound interest. That 1% is working for you every year. So if you start now at age 19 and you save for 10 years, by the time you're 29, that will have grown every year based on that new number. So compound interest really helps. However, let's say you procrastinate, and for the first 10 years, from age 19 to 28, you do not save a penny. Then when you turn 29, you go, oh my gosh, I should have listened to Mr. Powell. I am going to start investing. You put your money in the bank, you put your money in the stock market, you start making money. Guess what? You missed out on 10 years of compound interest. And of course, 10 years of savings. So the later you start, in other words, the more you procrastinate, the harder it is, in fact, to save any real substantial amount of money. You get very hurt from a money management standpoint when you procrastinate on saving and when you procrastinate on investing. Everybody following along? Any questions? Let's move on to the third aspect. If you procrastinate on your planning for retirement, this is tough too. Again, the longer you wait, the less money you are saving up for the long-term future. Here again is where that long-term planning comes into effect big time. If you are not focused on long-term things, you will never think about retirement. And that's going to hurt you because there is a day that you will turn, whatever the case may be, 60, for example. And you will realize at that point, I should have saved more. You'll probably realize that at 55. You'll probably realize it at 50. You'll probably realize it at 40 or even 30. So again, take the wisdom and advice of older people like myself and start saving now. Plan for your retirement the very first job you have. Start saving up for it. There's so many mechanisms that the government has used to help you get ready for this moment. All of those ideas that they talk about, 401ks, right? All of these 403bs, all these programs that are designed to help you save. For instance, I work at WSSU, of course, as you know, and they have a contribution where as long as I put in a certain amount of money, I get a contribution from WSSU of an equal amount. So if I say $500 this month, they will give me $500 more dollars. Wow, can you imagine? You put $500 in a bank account, you get 1%. What is 1% of $500? $5. But if your employer is going to double your money, whew, that's a big deal. That's not 1%, that's 100%. So clearly, when you have benefits like that, you need to invest in your retirement because you're missing out on a chance to double your money every single month. But you're not going to do it until you start thinking long term, until you start having that wealthy mindset. If you have a poverty mindset or a middle class mindset, you won't even think to do it. And that procrastination is going to hurt you big time. Let me talk about the fourth way that I have discovered that procrastination can hurt you, along with my good friend Piers Steele from the book, The Procrastination Equation. The fourth way I have seen that's very, very important to understand is even, yeah, I'm going to say it, on dying. So when you pass away from this wonderful earth, you hopefully will leave a will. But you know what? If you don't leave a will, did anybody know that if you don't leave a will, the government gets to decide who gets your money? I don't care how much you have left. If it's $100, $1,000, $100,000, $1 million. If you do not write a will, the government will decide who gets that money. Do you want someone else to decide for you where your money goes? That's a bad thing. In addition, the government takes a little cut, right? Takes a percentage in order to do the job function of taking care of spreading your money around and deciding who should get it. So that's a bad thing. If you procrastinate on writing a will, and I know that doesn't maybe apply to you all right now in college, but once you start working and you have any kind of wealth whatsoever, you need to write a will. You don't want someone else deciding where and to who your money goes, all right? So there have been some very famous people, millionaires, actors, billionaires, who have neglected, who have procrastinated to the point where they did not write a will. And guess what? Their money did not go to who they wanted to. Maybe they had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Maybe they had a nephew or a niece who they really loved. Maybe they had just someone in their life that was meaningful. Maybe they had a university they wanted to donate money to, or a cause like finding a cure for the COVID-19 virus. Maybe there was something they wanted to put their money to and they didn't get that chance. You know why? The big P, they procrastinated, and that's why they didn't get a choice to do that for themselves. The government decided, based on all the people who then said, hey, I want some of that money. Hey, I'm the son, I'm the daughter, I'm the nephew, I'm the niece, I'm the brother, I'm the sister, I'm the father. They're all going to show up at the government's doorstep and ask for some of that will money. And the government decides. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let it happen to you in credit cards. Don't let procrastination bite you in the you-know-what when it comes to investing and saving. Don't let it bite you in the you-know-what when it comes to retirement. And don't let it bite you in the you-know-what when it comes to passing away and trying to leave money to the people you care about and the causes you care about. We're going to now jump to our third topic. I want you all to have a wealth mindset. And one way to do that is to think about how millionaires think. We want to get into the mind of millionaires. And my beautiful, wonderful authors of this great book called The Millionaire Next Door are going to help me out. Mr. Thomas Stanley and William Danko. Amazing book, definitely worth reading. Here's a couple ideas they have that I greatly appreciate. The first is millionaires value independence over showiness. They value independence over showiness. Now, independence means they have enough money to where they can make their own choices. They can choose what career path they want. They can be a teacher that makes $35,000 a year because they know that they have money in the bank that's going to support them. They don't worry about the money. So people who are millionaires oftentimes value that level of I can do what I want instead of showiness. Okay, what do y'all think showiness means? You want to unmute and share?
Like buying clothes or cars that are like super showy and not really that is like essential.
Exactly. Buying things that are showy but not essential. That's exactly right. Whether it's clothes, whether it's the flashy car, all those
Because
kinds
people
of
ask,
things are exactly what we're talking about. Am I saying that's wrong to do? No, I'm not. Hey, if you want to do that, it's your life, not a problem. But if you want to have a wealthy mindset, if you want to possibly aspire to one day be a millionaire, then that's something to consider. Because if you don't do it, it greatly decreases your chances. The second point that these guys make that I really believe in very strongly is millionaires live well below their means. And let me just backtrack and say that these two authors have studied millionaires. They've gone around the country, the United States, and studied many, many millionaires in all over the various states of the United States of America. And they've actually interviewed, polled, conversed with these millionaires to figure out what makes them tick. So this is a research-based book. The second thing they found out about these millionaires is that they live well below their means. Folks, unmute and tell me, what does it mean to live well below your means? Anybody want to share?
Not spending money that you don't have.
That's right, Mr. Ron Harris. Appreciate you. Yeah, that means not spending money you do not have. Exactly right. And it means that you have money that's left over. Anybody want to tell me a synonym? What's the same thing as having money left over at the end of the month? What is that?
Say.
a sacrifice.
Sacrifice? What else did I hear?
I was just saying saving.
Yeah, I think I heard savings. Thank you.
Because
Yes,
there's sometimes where I
savings.
don't spend nothing unless I really need it. But I see things I want, so
Yeah, you
I
don't really
sacrifice.
spend things that you see that you maybe want. And that's exactly right. That's living well below your means. It's when your income is much more than your expenses. That is how millionaires think. They don't think, hey, if I've got $1,000, I'm gonna spend $1,000. They certainly don't think if I have $1,000, I'm gonna spend 1,300 with this brand new spanking beautiful credit card. They think if I have $1,000, I'm gonna spend 600 or 700, and I'm gonna save the other 300 or 400. So that's what it means to live well below your means. The final thing that is super, super critical, millionaires spend time learning about wealth strategies. They actually spend time thinking about these things, right? They go online, they read articles, they subscribe to a magazine like Money Magazine or other things of that nature. They talk to friends who are wealthy or maybe acquaintances, family friends who have made it when it comes to wealth, and they get ideas. That's how millionaires think. They learn about wealth strategies. They don't just roll the dice. They certainly don't pay money to buy lottery tickets. That is not a wealth strategy. That's what we call Hail Mary. You know, that's what we call taking a shot in the dark. That's not a savings plan. That's not a plan to become a millionaire. That's just shooting in the dark. That's not a wealth strategy. But millionaires, they have found, actually spend time learning about wealth strategies. So with that, I'm going to shoot out our second Zoom poll, and you'll join me with this. I'm about to send it out to you, and please answer those questions. I have launched the poll. You have about 3 minutes to answer these questions. Does everybody see the poll? Give me an amen or a yes, sir.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, go ahead and answer those questions, please. Thank you,
Yes.
Cheryl. For those of you, for whatever reason, maybe you're on an iPhone or maybe you are just kind of unable to see everything because of what your technology shows. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you what the questions are, but y'all can ignore me and answer the questions, please. After I'm done in about a minute, I will show you the results. They are anonymous. I cannot see your answer. Question 1, how often have you procrastinated when it comes to paying your credit card payments? That means you got a late fee, you didn't pay the full amount off every month. The second question is, how much do you value independence, meaning doing what you love instead of having to do what pays a high salary in your career? In other words, do you feel like, hey, I'm going to go with what I want to do? Or do you feel like, I cannot do that. I got debt to pay. I got student loans. I got to pay what makes the money. Number 3, how well do you live within your means by spending your money carefully? All right. And then finally, question 4 says, do you spend time learning about wealth strategies? Do you ever do that? So again, it's like on a scale of 1 to 4, all of these questions. Go ahead and answer now. You have another 20 seconds to complete your poll, at which time I will show you the results. I'll drink to that.
Oh my God.
Water, people, water. I'm at
Okay.
work, people. All right, 20 seconds are over. I see that 8 of you have finished your poll. I will now end the poll. Now I'm going to share the results so you can all see what everybody answered in aggregate. Let's take a look at that together. So it looks like most of you said, I almost never procrastinate. Good for you. Whew, where's my thumb? Thumbs up, people. Nice job. I like it. Thank you, Cheryl. I see your thumb. That's not even a virtual thumb. That's a real thumb. That's a flesh and blood thumb. I like me some of that. Yeah. The next question is, how much do you value independence in your career? And again, most of you, 5 of you said it was important, and even a few more of you said it was very important. So that's great. Hey, that's one of the, step 1, step 2, or step 3. It's one of the fundamental steps you must have is an appreciation for independence. Question number 3. How well do you live within your means and spend money carefully? Looks like most of you are conscious and careful. All right, that's great. I don't see anyone putting down I am or aim to be a saver. It could be just the way I wrote it. Maybe it's a little confusing. But what I intended was that that fourth box that nobody answered was supposed to be like the highest level. That's when you're really being very, very careful. So again, some of those aspirational goals, things to try to aim for you, is to say, how can I be a saver? And I talked about this last time. I talked about this in Survival, the Money Management 1, Survive. I talked about exact methods to create an emergency fund. I talked about exact methods for starting to save now. Moreover, what I actually said to everybody in that room was that you have to make sure to start now. There is no excuse. I understand you're a college student. I understand you're racking up debt. This is not about that. This is about habit formation. Think about it. If you don't form the habit now, when are you going to form it? You're going to tell me once I start working. Well, yeah, possibly. But this is the most important time of your life where you are learning not only things on how to do things, but you need to start implementing them in your life. If you don't implement at the time you learn, I'm telling you, the knowledge will not stick. So I know you're taking on debt or whatnot, but still take on the practice of saving. I don't care how much it is. $3 a day, $1 a day, it doesn't matter. It's about the principle of the thing. Once you start learning how to apply it and become a habit, and you form that habit, it will stay with you for life. So it's just my plug to start saving now. It doesn't matter if you're a college student. You can save something. You can learn the principle and you can apply it in your life today so that the knowledge sticks. Number 4, do you spend time learning about wealth strategies? Most of you said just a little, not really that much. And actually, many of you said not much at all. So really, I think this might be the weakest part collectively for all of us here in today's session, that we all collectively have to start doing more of. You've got to learn more about wealth strategies. I love the fact that you're signing into this workshop because that means you are taking the time to, that's right, learn about wealth strategies. So congratulations. Can I get a hand clap? Oh yeah, good job in an O formation to boot. So y'all doing great. Yes, I see your hand clap, thank you. You can do a virtual hand clap through Zoom, I like it. I'm gonna stop sharing the results. So that's what it's about, man. It's about learning wealth strategies. Today, I hope to kick you up a notch. Thank you, Zamiri. I see your hand clap. Let's move on. Very, very important stuff. The next 2 things are just fundamental, gotta know it kind of stuff. This one, item number 4 out of 6 things we're gonna talk about today, is income versus wealth. Income versus wealth. It is different. What do you think this one's a picture of? Anybody want to contribute? Is this income or is this wealth?
Income.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. It actually could kind of be both. This is one of those, if this was a test question, I would probably have
I
to
think
rewrite
it's
the question.
wealth.
What'd you say, Cheryl?
I think it's wealth because they're flaunting it. And when you have an income, you don't flaunt that. You pay your bills and you're done.
I feel you. Only problem is I might feel you, but other people might not. So really it depends on who you are, actually. But my intention in this picture was to say that this is supposed to represent income only because it's the money you have in your pocket right now that you just got from getting your paycheck, for example. Again, I understand you could argue
Okay.
either way.
I wouldn't show nobody that.
I know somebody's going to come and bum rush you for it. I hear you.
Okay.
All right. So income, my point being, income is not the same as wealth. This is the picture I want you to think about when you think about wealth. Not the money that you're flaunting, but relaxing at the beach. Why do I have this picture representing wealth? What do y'all think? Why? Why would I do that?
The ease now.
Yep, I hear someone say the easy life. What else?
Yeah, you can take it. You can take it easy now. You've basically done what you needed to do, so you can relax now.
Yes, you're doing what you needed to do, so you can relax. You don't worry about as much, do you?
No.
I know that money does not solve all problems. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that you don't have to worry about the money problems per se. So yeah, that's exactly my point. Wealth is not what you may think it is. Wealth is not about flaunting the dollar bills, right? It's actually about having that security in yourself. It's having the independence to be at the beach and possibly even making money while you're at the beach. Does that sound crazy? Can you make money sitting at the beach? Most of
Yeah.
you might say, I don't think so. But I'll tell you what, if you own stocks, your stocks could have gone up. Okay, maybe not in the last month, but you know, your stocks could have gone up, you know, and they could have made 2 or 3% while you're sitting there at the beach. Let's say you own real estate. Let's say you have a rental property. You think that tenant is going to pay you money even while you sit at the beach? Hells to the yeah. When it comes the first of the month, they're still going to pay you that $600, whether you're at the beach or you're in your house. So you're going to get paid no matter what. So that's what wealth is. It is sitting at the beach and you still making the money. Okay? That's crazy, but it's true. It can happen for you. just like it happens for me, and it happens for many people who understand wealth strategies. Let me help you understand what I'm talking about. Income, this is like really, really 101 basic stuff. I am not going to get into details. I just want you to understand the concept. Income is basically money I made minus money that I spent, which gives me the money I have left over. So that income is only that first piece, the money that I make. The money that I have left is actually something different. That's savings. That's the next level. And I talked about that in Survive. That's one of my most important things I taught in my Survive workshop. But we beyond that, man. We are number 2. We're in Thrive. You don't want to learn about savings. That's kid stuff. Well, it's static. I mean, 1% growth. That's like static, meaning not moving. I want to teach you about wealth creation. That's active. That's not 1%. Now we're talking different things. What is wealth? Wealth is the money value, the dollar value of stuff that I own minus the dollar value of stuff that I owe to somebody else, like a bank, for example, or a credit card company. I hope not. That is going to be equal to the value of the stuff's worth. That right there is the definition of wealth, the stuff left over. So for example, if I own a house, I'm talking about the right side equation now, the value of stuff I own. Say I own a house at $150,000. Say I owe the bank $100,000 out of that 150. How much is the value of my stuff's worth? That's right, 50,000, right? 150,000 minus 100,000 equals 50,000. That's the value of my stuff's worth. Okay? So say I save $1,000. And that's the savings. How much is the value of my stuff's worth just for that one instance? It's also going to be $1,000 because I don't owe anybody anything out of that $1,000. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. Okay. This dollars that I make is income. Dollars I have left is savings. And then the dollar value of all of my stuff's worth is wealth. So now let's talk about where you all come in terms of income versus wealth. What is your thinking, or what do you understand about it? I'm gonna launch the poll now. Go ahead and answer the poll questions, please. There are only 3 questions, and they're pretty much yes, no. In the meantime, and so that there's no dead space, I will describe those questions to you. Yes, no, or somewhat. Question 1, after these last few minutes of explanation, do you feel like you understand the difference between income and wealth? Go ahead and answer all 3 questions now, please. Number 2, have you ever confused income with wealth in the past, before this workshop? Yes or no? Number 3, do you think it is possible for something to increase both income and wealth at the same time? If you answer yes, think about what that could be, because I am going to ask you to share. If no, think about why it is not possible, and I will ask you to share as well. You have about 20 seconds while I drink my agua.
Agua, water.
And then I'm going to, yes, I'm going to drink to your health, water only, people. Another 10 seconds to finish out your poll, and I will come right back with you. All right, peeps, that's about 10 seconds. Please answer now. Oh yeah, got one. Oh, whoa, got another one. Yes. It's the mad rush. It's like trying to grab toilet paper at the food line. Okay, we're gonna end polling, people. Thank you so much for sharing. We got 9 out of 10. I love it, I appreciate it. I am now sharing results. You should see that on your screen. Everyone see it? Give me a thumbs up or a head nod or something. Yes, good. All right, question 1 was, after the explanation, do you feel like you understand the difference? Everybody said yes, 100%. I love it. Number 2, have you ever been confused? Yeah, half and half, right? 5 of you said, yeah, I have confused it. 5 of you said, no, I have not. So that's great. That's what I would have expected, because it is confusing. It's hard to understand. Now, if you've ever taken a business class, you probably will understand very quickly. A personal finance class, I should be more specific. Number 3, do you think it's possible for something to increase both income and wealth? The answer is yes. And everyone said, yes, that seems possible. I realize now that can be kind of obvious because, you know, if you just save $1,000, that's wealth. But what about increasing both at the same time? Please share with me and unmute and tell me what you think. How can you increase both at the same time?
I think if you own your own business, that you can increase, I guess how much you allocate towards yourself. Owning your own business could be considered income, but usually you're supposed to put that money back and let it revolve for it to profit. But I think you can increase with your own business, and as well as if you work for somebody else and you have your own business.
That's right. Thank you, Ms. Cheryl Bryant. I appreciate it. That's a good answer. That is, as they say, the number 1 answer on the board. Yes, a small business. We're doing game shows now, people. I'm just trying to keep you all entertained. That's all I do is entertain. So yes, a small business is definitely a way in which, as you're growing your business over the course of a year, you're making money, right? Whatever that business is. Say it's an Etsy shop where you sell trinkets of whatever, right? Widgets. So you're selling your trinkets, you make money from the trinkets, that's income. But it's also increasing your wealth because the value of your business is going up. If you hopefully one day sell that business to someone else, you might get some money for that business, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Any other ideas as to how you can both increase income and wealth at the same time?
Kind
I
of
was
go
about to say just
Girls
multiple streams of income.
Go ahead, speak up a little bit.
Multiple streams of income.
Multiple streams of income, such as what?
Just having more than one source of income coming. I don't know like what in particular, but just having different means of income besides just one.
Yeah, multiple sources of income is definitely a great idea. Yes, it's not exactly answering this question, but yes, you're on the right track. So I'll give you another example of something that can increase both income and wealth. Real estate. Okay, if you own a rental property or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, you will both get income and wealth. I'll give you my example again. Say the first of the month comes along. Most of you probably are rent payers, right? Most of you are tenants. You pay the landlord. But what if you become the landlord? Then you have a tenant who pays you $600, $700, $800 a month. And you're increasing your wealth because does the value of a house go up or down over time?
It depreciates.
The value of a house actually goes up.
That's a car.
Amazingly, when you buy a car, the car's value
Go down.
Okay.
it goes down.
Depreciate.
But the value of a house appreciates. The value of a car depreciates. Yeah, I'm
Mr.
pulling out all
Powell.
the bags of tricks, baby. All the
Doesn't it-
bags, all the
Mr.
tricks. So
Mr.
yeah, so
Powell.
exactly. So
Does it
another way you
depend
can,
on where that house is?
of course, all of these things are depends on.
Because if the
Definitely.
rest of the neighborhood is going down, then doesn't that depreciate the value of your house?
It very well could. Good answer.
Okay.
Good answer.
All right.
But yes, in general, houses appreciate. In general.
Okay.
Everything is dependent on time period, when you do it, all of that stuff. But in general, you should expect your wealth, meaning the value of your property, to go up. In addition, your mortgage is being paid every month. So the amount that you owe the bank continues to drop over and over and over and over again. Every month you pay it. Even though you're getting income and you're paying down a mortgage and the value is going up. So all three things are going in the right direction when it comes to real estate. Value up, mortgage down, meaning you're paying it every month, and income up, meaning you get your $600 every month. So that's a perfect example of both income and wealth working for you. So that's my slide here. You can have it both ways, amazingly. There are mechanisms to have both income and wealth, and I just gave you two of them right there. The fifth thing I want to talk about today, before we get into our very last thing, which is wealth creation. The second to last is risk and reward. And this is a very simple concept I will go over very quickly, but it is investing's push-pull relationship. There is always a relationship of risk and reward when it comes to wealth. In fact, just like Miss Bryant explained or said over Zoom just now, if you pick the wrong property or the wrong neighborhood, guess what, man? The value may not go up. It may go down. That is a risk you are taking to get the reward of income and wealth. You know, there's other risks too, right? Owning real estate is not like easy peasy orange squeezy. You could have a tenant who messes up the house. You could have a hard time finding a tenant. You could, right? There's a lot of you coulds. You could have a tree fall on the house. A lot of stuff can happen where there is risk required in order to get your reward. I'm going to switch now and talk about the most basic of investments, which is buying stocks or bonds. I mean, that's risk and reward too, right? Have we seen the stock market crash in the last few weeks? Huh? Anybody see that happen? Anybody watching, paying attention? OMG, I mean, it has crashed big time, right? It's about 35% lower than its peak. That means if you had $100 back in the high peak season, you would now have $65. Okay, that hurts. But if you had $10,000, you would now have $6,500. That hurts a lot. If you had $1 million, you would now have $650,000. You will have lost $350,000. So you understand there is risk and reward involved with everything. Ironically, I'm talking to you at a very good time because the market is now crashed because of the coronavirus. This is actually, and I am not an advice giver, and this is not an official endorsement to do anything. Note, I am not giving investment advice. But if I were, now would sure be a good time to invest in the stock market, wouldn't it? So again, there's risk and reward. There's risk now too. You can invest now, the market can go down another 35%. In all cases, the greater the reward you desire, the higher the risk is going to be. So my first picture is of risk. My second picture is of reward. Never forget, if something looks too good to be true, it might be. If the reward looks too easy and too big, watch out, because the risk might be equally big, whether they put it in the small print or they never told you about it. That's all I got to say about that. Now I'm going to go to our final topic before we end, creating wealth. This is probably the one you all been waiting for, right? So creating wealth. I got 4 minutes to finish this off, and I'm going to do it right now. This, folks, is the seismic shift you've been waiting for. Last time we talked about savings. Hey man, that's kid stuff. Now we're going to talk about investing. How do you do it? Here we go. Buy stocks. Anybody know what the average annual percentage growth in stocks is, aside from the last month, which is negative 35%? But generally speaking, in normal times, what is the annual growth of stocks? What rate of return can you get? Anybody want to tell me? Take a guess. There's no wrong answers. There's just learning. So throw something out there. What percent? I told you that put your money in the bank is 1%. So buying stocks is higher than 1%. What do you think it is?
4%.
I like your guess. Thank you, Cheryl. You're taking a risk. I love it. The answer is about 11%, 11 to 12%
Wow.
per year. Yeah. So if you invested for 10 years, you can make a lot of money in 10 years with 12% increase every year. Again, it compounds every year. You can also buy bonds. Bonds are considered quote unquote safer because essentially what you're doing is bonds are used to fund big projects like building roads, building hospitals, supporting a crashing market. So that's why bonds are issued. You can buy bonds or things that buy bonds for you. And by doing so, it's less risky, but you'll probably make, it varies depending on the interest rate, but somewhere between 3 and 10% would be a normal thing to get from investing in bonds per year. You can also own real estate. Real estate is its own thing because there's not really a percentage. Like we talked about, there is a lot of risk and a lot of reward in real estate. I can tell you from personal experience, it can be extremely rewarding. Your income is very, very solid and stable, which is the most important facet. And like I told you before, you are constantly paying down your mortgage. And in the case of renting, someone else, your tenant, is paying your mortgage for you. Whew, what? Somebody else gonna pay my mortgage for me? Let me say yes to that. Plus, if you hit it right, your value can go up because real estate generally goes up between something like 2 and 4% a year on average. Again, don't quote me on any of my numbers. I'm just giving you general average figures. The fourth one is lend money privately. Yes, you can do that. You can say, hey, I'm gonna lend you some money. There's actually websites that do this, and I'm gonna expect to get X amount % back every year until you give me back my whole principal, my whole amount. You can start up angel invest. This is getting higher on the risk scale, very, very high on the risk scale, meaning you can help baby companies, companies that don't exist yet, you can help them develop and become actual big companies. These are where the big money people go. This is how people invest in Facebook before Facebook was Facebook. These are the people that invest in Google before Google was Google. You know what I mean? It's the people who invest in, whatever the latest trend is, Instagram, TikTok. These are the people who knew before TikTok was big that TikTok was going to be big, and they made money off of that. And then there's inventions, creations, and you get royalties for that. You can write a hit song. You can develop a TV show. You can do those things that create royalties on a monthly or annual basis. Probably the easiest to understand is writing a book, writing an article, publishing a musical record, right? Those are obvious, right? You put out a record, you get paid every year from royalties from people who download your record or buy your CD. Finally, what Ms. Bryant said, you may own, but not just own, grow a successful business. Each of those words is important. It must be a successful business. Risk and reward. You can have a failing business that will cost you money. But if you have a successful business that you not only own, but that you grow, as Ms. Bryant correctly said, reinvesting the money in the business, then you can also create wealth that way. So I'm going to skip the poll because we're running out of time. I just invite you to take a risk, please. If you don't play the game, you can't win. So if your money is not in there, you can't even see what the reward could be. Now is the time to start. When your money amount is probably small because you just don't have a lot of money to do it with, now is the time to take chances. Not when you have the $1 million, but when you have the $100. Take risks now, create a pattern of success for yourself. Learn from your mistakes. That's what college life is about, and develop good habits. With that, I'm going to officially end our session at 1 hour. And if anyone has any questions, I will now take them. Thank you for joining this workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. Anybody got a question for me? You guys, you loved it so much. You got nothing to say? We good?
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Again, I'm going to stick around for another minute or two. If anyone has a question, I'm happy to answer it. Thank you, Ms. Bryant, for coming. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Anybody got a question? Open forum.
So what about the replay? like the recording, because I want to
Yes.
actually hear it again, because I'm actually moving around at the time, so I'm not really like paying attention like I really need to. So I want to hear it again.
You're not paying attention to my session, Dana?
Well,
Oh.
that ain't. I'm saying I was at the store, so I'm doing something at the same time, so I can't really really chime in and pay attention like I really need to. I had to go to the store.
If you're at the store, you better clean your hands, girl. Watch out.
I'm in my car now, so.
Don't let that thing get you. All right. The question is this going to be recorded and posted? The answer is I am definitely planning to do that. I am in process of recording now. And if there are no glitches or technical problems, I will be posting this to the Success Workshops page. This is a great time for me to screen share with you and show you that we do, in fact, have a wonderful sharing now opportunity for you to see what we do in, sorry, hold on. I'm going to pull up my Success Workshop page. If it shows up, can you all see can you see something called,
Channel review.
sorry, let me get this going on. I think y'all can see my page, right? You can see WSSU?
Yes.
All right, now I'm going to pull up the page. This is Instructure. This is Canvas, I should say. Sorry, Canvas. That's the name for teachers. This is Canvas. This is my page, the Beyond the Classroom Student Success Workshops. And I should not say it's my page, but it is our page for WSSU. I just manage it. But I have a whole bunch of people helping and contributing. And this is the number of modules that we currently have. This is where I'm going to post it under modules when I get it up and running.
Okay.
I have 2 that are coming tomorrow, procrastination and time management and ways to improve your grammar. So I'm going to shoot out an announcement for y'all, but go check that out tomorrow. It should be up and running by tomorrow morning. Very excited about that. In addition, I am going to post for you all right now under the chat section. There is going to be a section, sorry about that. There's a link to get into the Beyond the Classroom Student Success Workshops. I want to make sure that you all have that. So I'm going to post that to the chat session in just a second. So give me a moment to do that, but I strongly encourage that you come in and do that because this is good stuff, man. The thing we did today is just the beginning. We've already got, I think, 6 workshops on the website. So please join us for these modules. And I'm going to show it to you one last time before I get off. These are the current modules that are available. Note-taking, public speaking, Money Management 1, as you can see, Be Your Best You, Difficult Conversations, GRE Test Prep, and of course, Procrastination and Ways to Improve Your Grammar are coming soon. I'm now going to the chat feature and I am posting that to the chat. Please click on that and enroll now. Workshops available immediately. Any other questions I can answer for you?
No?
No. Thank you.
Definitely. One very last quick thing. I am going to try to do one more thing with you, which is to just talk about the next 2 things that we have. So the last 2 things for this year, Success Workshops I'm talking about. The very last 2 workshops will be next week and the week after. Actually, we have one more at 3:30 today. So I sent that out under announcements. You should see that in your announcements in the Canvas shell. 3:30 today with Ms. Stephanie McFoy. But next week, that's the one that you see here. It's not Maximize Your Summer. It is Dealing with Stress, right? Dealing with stress in a stressful environment, which is where we're at right now. But the next one is next week, Tuesday. Remember, the day is different. 3 to 4, the time is different, with wonderful Miss Sharon Hill. She'll talk about how to start making money now. Or, you know, when people can actually get out of their house. So once you can get out of your house, how can you start making money? She's going to show you tips, tricks. She has personal experience. She's going to show you how that works. The final one will be Thursday, April 16th. Everything is on Zoom. It will be Secrets of Reading for Pleasure with the wonderful Miss Angela Steinberg. our reading specialist. She will show you how love of reading can help you improve things like your vocabulary, your grammar, and all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend coming to that. With that, I am going to say goodbye. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Keep fighting the good fight. Work hard. You're going to get through this time. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Mr. Powell.
Take care.
Right. Hold on.